Hello, I'm Trisha. I work as a caregiver in the Northampton office.
That's perfect. Say it again.
Hello, my name is Trisha and I work as a caregiver in the Northampton office.
That's super. Trisha, what difference do you think homestead senior care can make?
I think it makes a very big difference to clients and their families. It allows people to remain at home where otherwise they may have had to go into care. Because we have a minimum of an hour, it gives us a chance to build up a good rapport with that client, and I feel it is really, really helpful when dealing with a client with Alzheimer's, because I feel they need that time.
I can hear somebody talking. I will have to ask you. Get your voice up there. Hiya. He didn't greet me like that. Right, cheers. But that was perfect.
It's all right calling them clients.
Absolutely spot on. Okay. So Trish, what difference do you think can homestead senior care make?
I think it makes a very big difference. It allows clients to remain at home, whereas otherwise they would probably have to go into care. And as we give a minimum of an hour's service, it allows us to have a good rapport, build up a good rapport with the client and their family. And I find it especially helpful when dealing with patients with clients who have Alzheimer's or dementia.
And what would happen if the family didn't use homestead?
I think they would struggle. I think there would be family breakdown. I mean, no doubt about that. And I think it is important for them to have some time out or just basic help, because a lot of family do not really want to be the carer. For example, a husband really wants to be a husband to his wife and not always her carer. And I think because we go in, we give him that chance, and if it's the opposite way, the wife, if she's caring for her husband, gets the chance to be the wife for that hour. And I think that's very important.
The only thing I'll ask you to say is, when I ask the question, just say the question back.
Right.
So what is quality care next? Quality care is?
Okay.
Perfect. So Trisha, what is quality care?
Quality care is being on time, being consistent, giving a high standard of care, and when required, going that extra mile.
And Trish, why did you choose then to become a caregiver?
I chose to become a caregiver because it's something that I've always done. My previous background was a trained nurse and midwife, and having done that for a very long time, and having had my children late in life, I decided I would quite like a change, and I really like to work school hours because I want to be there for my young family. And sadly, the NHS, you cannot get school hours, and with this company I can. And I really enjoy it. I think it's a good company to work for, and I feel that I make a difference to people, and that's really what I want to do. So
could you just talk a little bit then, Trish, what difference do you think does your training make?
The training it's very good. We cover a lot, so particularly I had never worked in people's homes before, so having been trained about health and safety, that was quite enlightening, because there are certain things, it may just be common sense, but when you're not used to working in someone's home, it's very useful. For example...
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard it.
So Trisha, what difference does your training make?
The training is very important. I find personally, having never worked in the community in someone's home, that even covering health and safety issues was very helpful. Common sense things, for example, if you have an elderly person who's a bit unsteady on their feet, and they have a loose rug, then it's probably a good idea to remove that rug. But obviously you have to get their permission. The other thing I find is we sometimes have to help people in and out of bed. So again, the training lets us know the proper way to do it, keeping ourselves safe and our clients safe. The other thing I find very helpful is what to do in an emergency, when we're taught to do that. And we have food hygiene preparation, which is very important, and it's very, for example, sorry.
No, that's okay.
I've lost it.
So gone from food hygiene.
Yeah.
Because don't worry, we can edit some cut and paste.
The food hygiene is important because we sometimes are required to prepare food for people, and I feel it's infection control is paramount, because this is when elderly people can be quite susceptible. So it's very important that as carers we know the proper hand washing technique, the proper preparation for food, and also in the food preparation it came over in the training that to make things small and tasty. And you forget that elderly people will say that they don't want to eat. However, when you prepare something for them, they're more than happy to eat it. So I feel that that's helpful also. Again, the medical side of things, making sure if they are having medication that we do know what that medication is. If they're taking that we are signing for that they've had their medication. And it's important that we know the side effects of that medication also. The training is to me is very good, and the one that particularly sticks out for me is the dementia. I work with most my clients do have dementia, and it can be very challenging at times. However, the training helps you understand that better, and I think the thing that comes to mind and sticks out from that is always take your person back to a place of happiness. So no matter when you go into a client, if they're upset and they're not very happy with you, I never take it personally. And I always like to, at the end of my visit, think, yes, I've taken you back to a good place, I've taken you back to a place of happiness. And that comes from the training. I think home instead senior care can make a big difference to people. For the client and their family, it allows the client to stay at home where otherwise they may have to go into care. I also feel because we give a minimum of an hour's care, that it gives us the chance to build up a rapport with the client and their family, and that's especially important in the cases of... I feel home instead senior care can make a big difference to clients and their families. If we weren't going in to look after people, I think they would probably be in care. And for the families...
Home instead senior care make?
I feel home instead senior care can make a big difference to clients and their families. It allows them to stay at home, whereas otherwise they may have to be in care.
Instead senior care make?
I feel home instead senior care makes a big difference to clients and their families. It allows them to remain at home, whereas I think they would probably have to go into care. And because we give a minimum of an hour's service, it allows us to build up a good rapport with the client and their family. And I feel that's really important, especially in the case of patients with dementia and Alzheimer's.
Don't mention patients.
I said patients, and
yeah.
Go back to
so
that.
go back to that part.
Yeah. Where am I starting from?
Do you want to start from the beginning?
Yeah.
Okay. So what difference can home instead senior care make?
I feel home instead senior care can make a big difference to clients and their family. It allows them to remain at home, whereas in other situations they would probably be in care. And also we give an hour's minimum service, and that allows us to build up a good rapport with the clients and their families. And that's really important when you're dealing with someone who has Alzheimer's or dementia.
And what would happen if you didn't go?
I firmly believe if we didn't go in, the family unit would break down, and people would be stressed, and it could lead to the client having to go into care.
So what is quality care then, Trish?
Quality care is being on time, being consistent, giving a high standard of care, and when required going that extra mile.
And Why did you choose then to become a caregiver?
My background is in caring. I was a nurse and a midwife for a very long time, and when I had my 2 young boys, I found it quite difficult to get family hours, and I didn't want to give up work totally, and this opportunity arose, and it allows me to work family hours, so I have a good work-life balance, and I thoroughly enjoy what I do.
And on that note then, could you describe what difference you think the training makes?
The training makes a very big difference. It's very important, and especially for me, I had never worked in someone's home before, so it was quite enlightening for me to have the health and safety. So even simple things like if you have an elderly person who's a bit unsteady on their feet and they have a loose rug, it makes better sense to remove that rug. Also, we have food preparation, which is very important. We have to know as caregivers that we have a high standard of infection control, because it's important that these elderly people, they're very susceptible to infection. And I also find in the food preparation part, a lot of times elderly people tell you that they don't want to eat. However, from experience, I have found that when you do make something and make it look attractive, they do eat it and they do enjoy it. We also have fire safety training, which again, working in someone's home, it's really important to know where the exits are. It's not something I ever thought about before. Working in a hospital establishment, yes, but I really didn't think when I go into someone's home I have to think where the exits are and be fire safety conscious. Also, I find it's important to remember to switch off all the appliances because sometimes elderly people, especially ones who have dementia, do sometimes leave appliances on. We also have first aid training, so that's very helpful to know what to do in an emergency. Again, working on your own and working in someone's home is a lot different, so you have to know what to do in an emergency, and the training covers that. And for me, the big one was the dementia awareness training. I work with a lot of clients with dementia, and it's very important to leave them in a happy place, and that sticks out in my mind, because some days they can be quite challenging and they may not want to do what I want them to do, and it's gaining a better understanding of that and knowing at the end of my hour that I have left them feeling quite happy and that they are going to have a good day, and for me that's very, very important.
Fantastic.